Hey guys, Evan Girard here with my brand new Rocky Mountain Element C99. Thanks to Rocky Mountain, I was able to get on a brand new race bike for this year, and just ahead of my first Xterra of the season, I thought I'd run you guys through how I set my bike up specifically for Xterra. Although the time frame is pretty similar to cross-country mountain biking, there are a few subtle differences. The bike is the Rocky Mountain Element C99, which means it's their full carbon, super stiff, super light, hardcore race bike. It's a super adjustable bike, which is one of the reasons why I was so motivated to work on this guy. This chip system here at the rear shock is fully adjustable, so I can adjust how that shock is positioned within the bike, and that's going to change how the bike feels. I'm still messing around with that a little bit and deciding on how I like it for climbing courses versus fast flat courses, technical descents, and so on. But that's a really nice feature. The suspension on this bike is taken care of by Fox all the way through, and it's the factory suspension. The 34 up front and the factory shock in the rear give me 120, 110 millimeters of travel respectively. I've also got the full lockout on this rear shock, so I can definitely get up those really steep fire road climbs and close any of those gaps that I need to with that lockout. I've also got the transfer dropper post in the rear here. In Xterra, that's becoming a more and more important feature, not necessarily because the courses are technical, but by getting the seat back and out of the way, your legs are able to recover that much more for the next climb, and more importantly, you're going to be able to run off the bike a lot better. So the drivetrain on this bike is taken care of by SRAM all the way through. It's the top end XX1 drivetrain, so I've got that big derailleur in the back and an enormous 1050 cassette in the back. That gives me a 500% gear ratio, which is pretty insane. Chain also by SRAM, cranks, XX1 cranks again, full carbon all the way through, and then the chain ring is the SRAM 36 tooth oval, which is another feature that I changed specifically for Xterra. The oval chain ring gives you a little bit better power transfer, and it's also more relaxing and uses multiple muscle groups, so you're going to be less fatigued in the legs come the run. Brakes on this bike also provided by SRAM, and they're the Level Ultimate brakes. They're the top end cross-country race brakes. They've got the carbon levers up front to just save a little bit of weight there, but they're a super reliable, super powerful brake. 180 millimeter rotor up front, 160 in the rear, gives me all the stopping power that I could need. So the wheels on this bike are Rocky Mountain's House carbon rims. They're a 24 millimeter internal width, laced up to DT Swiss hubs. Super solid wheels, super stiff, excellent power transfer. Sitting on those wheels are Icon 2.2 inch Maxxis tires, front and rear. Those guys are a pretty standard race tire for me. They're kind of a tried and true race tire in very variable conditions. I have experimented a fair bit with different tires, and I will potentially switch these out depending on conditions, but for most days these are what I like to roll. So my cockpit up front is set up very much the way I like it. I've got a 1x drivetrain system, so I just have the one XX1 shifter up front. I also, on the left-hand side, have my dropper remote as well as the lockout lever. The handlebars are the Race Face Next carbon handlebars, 760 millimeter width, and the stem is a 70 millimeter Race Face stem. These grips on here are by Red Monkey. They're a silicone grip, silicone lock-on grip, which is super nice. In Xterra, you're almost always riding with no gloves, and you're coming out of the water, hopping on your bike. You want to be able to grip those handlebars and make sure that you're not going to be sliding off. You spend a little bit of time feeding in an Xterra as well, so you want to make sure that those grips are really solid, and the Red Monkeys are awesome. I've also got the Garmin mount up at the top here with my Edge 520 computer up top. That's letting me know exactly what's going on in the race, ideas of time domains. The saddle here is a WTB saddle. I've got the XTR race pedals sitting at the bottom of those XX1 cranks, and I've got a carbon bottle cage in the middle. The nice thing about this Element as a full suspension bike, you've actually got a second bottle cage mount in here, so I can run 2 bottles if I want. Heading into ITU Worlds, which is going to be a 2-lap bike course, I'm only going to need the 1 bottle cage, but I definitely have that option there. And for some cross-country mountain bike racing as well, that's a really good feature to have on the bike. So that's my Rocky Mountain Element. It's a pretty amazing race bike. Like I said, it's super stiff, super fast. Can't wait to throw down on some really awesome race courses with this guy. It's not just about having a fast bike, but you also need to be able to run off it as well. And with a weapon like this, I have no doubt that I'm going to be able to throw down some of the best bike times that I've ever done. Really looking forward to getting out to some of the races here.